Welcome to Key Conversations, where you get to connect with the best of the music business, unlocking the secrets to exploding your music career, presented by In the Key of Success. I'm your host, Cheryl B. Engelhardt. The conversations you're about to hear are between our special guest and participants of my MX4 course, the Marketing and Branding, Money-Making, Mentorship Mastermind for Musicians. They are singers, songwriters, composers, producers, and artists just like you, asking their burning questions of our experts while transforming their careers over 6 weeks. If you think this could be you, check out mx4course.com to schedule a free half-hour coaching call with me to see if we'd be a good fit. So, let's get started. We are back with Judy Stakee, music industry veteran, talking all things songwriting. We're going to pick it up with questions from Scott Tran, our resident songwriter violinist. Scott, do you have any questions for Judy?
Yes, Judy, thank you so much. Yes, thank you for being on the call. I've really enjoyed this so far. And I feel like my question kind of evolved too, because, I'm just listening to what you're saying about if you want to perform versus if you want to sing or do a licensing on TV and film. It seems like it's a good idea for me to sort of sit down and kind of figure out, okay, well, what, because I feel like a lot of what I'm doing right now is that I am researching and trying to do a lot, but I feel like I could be making better use of my time, and some of that could be in trying to develop my brand, like you said. What do you usually recommend for your developing songwriters then, like when they're just really getting sort of sinking their teeth into their career, and like they're really trying to flesh things out? How do you begin the process?
I'm not quite sure what you're asking me. Can you rephrase it?
Maybe. Okay, so...
Are you at the very beginning of your career?
Yes and no. I mean, as far as a singer-songwriter, yes. I've been performing with other people as a violinist and singing as well, and I've done a lot with some other churches. As far as doing a lot of my original songs with a band, I did some of that in Arizona, but as far as New York, I've done a few open mics. I did the songwriter showcase, but I haven't done a lot of performance of original material here.
So you're asking me, how do you start the process of what?
I think, like you were saying about how the songwriters, you kind of have them find themselves. I think that's what you were saying. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm.
Scott, I want to
that process.
I feel like I hear a question, Scott, that you may not even hear. So can I take a stab at what I think you're trying to ask?
Sure.
What I'm hearing is when you're sort of starting, you're doing a lot of different things, as we do as musicians, sort of exploring what is really the passion, and the throwing the spaghetti on the wall and seeing what sticks. How do you know if it's going to be the TV licensing direction or the performance direction? How do you decipher which route is better to get started? And I know that once you have success in one, the successes in the other will sort of, you'll be able to do a little bit of both. But is that which direction do you start in if you want to look at those two paths that Judy first talked about? Is that hitting it a little bit more, Scott?
That hits it a little bit more. Not exactly what I was trying to go for. Maybe it's just such a vague question that I can maybe flesh out in a little bit. But yeah, I think it's a good part of the process too. Is how do you know where to begin? Is it better to put all your eggs in one basket, or do you just sort of kind of experiment over time and sort of figure it out?
My philosophy is that you start with the songs.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? So if you're a singer-songwriter and so forth, then you have to start writing songs. And then when you write those songs, you figure out where you're going to take them at the end. I mean, basically, I'll start with, no matter who I've developed. My new one is this young girl named Alex, and I put her in a studio with a writer-producer last year and said, go, figure out what you want to say. I mean, she had not really written any songs. I think she's a star. She's got a great voice and all that, and I know she can write. And they started writing. I had no idea what was going to happen. I had no idea if she was going to be a singer-songwriter or if she was going to be jazz or country. I mean, she was pop. I knew that. But you know what I'm saying? It's like I didn't quite know what was going to turn out. So after, 6 or 7 months, all of a sudden she had all of these songs, and it was like, oh, wow, look at this. These aren't just going to be singer-songwriter. These are going to be something that are going to be a lot more. This is going to be, an arena. This is going to be a pop artist. This is going to be somebody who's going to have dancers in the back. This is not going to be hotel cafe, little stuff. So, but I didn't know that going in. I had no idea what she was going to be. So the songs dictated it, and she found her voice through that. So, as I said, a song is your voice, the melody, and the lyrics, okay? You have to find your voice physically and spiritually. 2 of the most important things. And then your melodies are your emotions. So that's the other thing in getting in touch with what you want to say and how you want to say it. And the lyrics are your stories. So you have to be able to know how to tell your story from your point of view, from your perspective. And when you master those 3 things, because you guys all are storytellers, no matter if you're artists or writing for other people, you are storytellers. So the way you tell that story and the music that it integrates it in with the voice, I mean, that's your livelihood. So you have to learn how to make the product. And then once you make this product, then you figure out, you're much more film and television. I have another artist. She's actually out of my social media, but she's written an EP, and she's more Nora Jones. She's got a very quiet, she plays the piano, and after she wrote all these songs, that's what came out of her. I mean, it was who she was at the very beginning, you could tell, but she could have developed into something completely different, who knew? But after a year, she really solidified this real, very kind of, Nora Jones for no other thing. So, and what she did is that she found a partner, a guy, that they did a whole duet EP that's more like the Civil Wars. And then she started writing with this other girl that's got this very cool, funky voice. And the 2 of them together did a very cool duet of all these songs that are they're much more placeable in film and TV, kind of quirky, very quirky stuff. So it's just a matter of the songs kind of dictated what she did. So for me, the process is you've got to start with the songs. And you've got to develop yourself. That's your responsibility. Mm-hmm. Hoping that answered it.
Do you get that, Scott? Did that land?
Yeah, taking lots of notes. Thank you.
Awesome. Okay, we have about 10 more minutes, so let's do like a laser round. I'm going to start with Favor's question. I'm just going to summarize it so we don't get too much backstory and everything, but does location matter? Can you create the career that you want in St. Louis or in Detroit or...
Yes, I think you can, okay? It's going to take a little bit more work, and you might have to do a little bit more research. It might take a little longer and all those things, but you can do it. When you get a show together, Favor, in St. Louis, and you start attracting a crowd, find out who the local promoters are. Go to the clubs, and because you see, John Mayer comes through St. Louis. Miranda Lambert comes through St. Louis. I mean, you go into the paper and you can see that you guys attract, that's a major city. So you have a lot of people coming through there, okay? You have promoters that are coming through there. And if you've got somebody at a club that really loves you, and you can say, hey, introduce me to the promoter here, so that he can tell people nationally about me, and maybe book me, in front of somebody else. That's who you want to get to know if you're going to be a show, okay? If you're going to be film and television, well, you can do that from anywhere, because all you have to do is go get this registry. You've got all the phone numbers and the emails, and you can start pitching your stuff, and you can start really doing the legwork, or find somebody to pitch for you. Find a company to do it. Or if you want to do a video, I would say if I was going to do a video, I would go to the local, if I couldn't, if I was trying to save money, I'd go to a local college, or I'd go to find somebody, who was teaching video production, and find out who the best student is, and see if they wanted to collaborate.
I have a video. We just completed it. It's not ready yet.
Okay. Mm-hmm. You may want to find a manager also, and there's managers in St. Louis. There are. Do you have one?
I have a personal manager, but as far as someone who is connected with the right resources that I would need, I have not gotten that person yet.
And that's the other thing. You might want to talk to people at the clubs who are booking and who know the acts around town. There might be somebody, or you might, maybe you can, if there's somebody in town in St. Louis that you're like, wow, they have it going on. They're always playing. They're always opening. I wonder who manages them. You might want to reach out.
Okay.
It takes a lot more research. That's all it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Thank you.
That's awesome. Favor, did that cover your question and answer?
It did. Interestingly, I've done all those things.
We're gonna step it up though. We're
Okay.
So that the results start showing up, because we're gonna shift
St.
how
Louis
that
is
gets
just
done.
tough. It really is. Oh, and thank you so much.
I know.
Yeah, I totally get that. Let's go in a more random order than I did before. Deborah.
So I've been in music all my life, classically trained. I came out to get my master's at Cal Arts, but it took me a while to get into songwriting. I really, really realized that that's my passion. And I have this EP coming out. I think my stuff is pretty darn good, and I have a really strong message, and I know who I am. But I'm kind of just at the beginning of like getting out there, doing live shows, or thinking about film and television. Is there any sort of different advice that you would give for someone who's a little bit older in terms of path, or is there anything in what you're hearing? What advice you could give me in Los Angeles to take it to the next step?
Well, are you planning to do a show? Are you planning to perform?
Yeah, I am performing, and I'm also a little bit intimidated by or frustrated by the sort of pay-to-play climate in Los Angeles. And I've been in this investment phase where I'm putting a lot of money into my music and a lot of money into classes and developing myself. And I want to kind of move past that, like I need to develop phase into like, okay, this is good enough. I want to be out there and have the confidence and do it. And I'm sure some of it is just doing it, but I guess how do you react to that? What would you say?
Well, it's a very hard question to answer because I don't know your music and I don't know where you are, so I don't quite know what you need. Okay, so if your stuff is great for film and television, then you need to go down that avenue. If you're going to build a show, then you really need to build a show, because you can't just go in and stand up and play guitar these days. If you guys are going to go do it, you have to put the energy behind it. So how do you do a show? Okay, you're a little older. No one cares about that, okay? But maybe you do a show a little differently, Maybe you don't have a full band. I don't know. Again, I don't know what kind of music you have. Maybe you do a different venue. Maybe, I don't know, but it's creatively coming up with something that is, for you specifically.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. I'm not quite sure how to tell you what to do exactly.
Yeah.
If you need to build a show, then hire somebody to help you build a show. If you need to write a show, have somebody help you write it.
Okay.
Okay.
Awesome. Cool. All right, let's go back to Scott on the phone. Do you have any more burning questions? It's okay if you don't, by the way,
yes.
people. Okay, good.
Sorry. Just to piggyback off of that one, when you say for a show, are you when you say having someone help you write a show, are you talking about like staging, or are you talking? I'm wondering what you.
See, the thing is that there are so many clubs everywhere. Okay, so you can go anywhere and go in and find a band and say a singer songwriter, and I have to tell you, I've seen hundreds of thousands of shows over the years. I mean, so many, and I get bored a lot of times. I get really bored. I get bored because it's just song after song after song, and the next song is, and the next song is, and it's just like I get bored. So I really, really, for me, it's like I want to go to a show where someone talks, where someone gives me something of themselves. Once you leave a show and you buy the CD is never going to change. Okay, Scott? So every time I buy your CD at the show, come home and I put it on, those songs are never going to change. They're going to always sound the same. Okay? So you have a chance at the show to do different versions. You have the chance at the show to endear yourself to your audience. When you get them connected to you, they'll buy anything. And that's where you have the chance to do it, is at a show. So instead of going with the next song is, while you're tuning your guitar or your violin or whatever, you can say, oh my God, let me tell you what happened to me on the way here. Oh my God, the funniest thing happened. and you can give them a little bit of your personality. Or you can tell them that you just broke up with somebody and that, you've been in your house for 3 weeks and this is the first time you came out. And thank you for, you can give them, you have to consciously know stories. You have to consciously have stories ready at a show. And that's what you need to, I think that telling stories in between is so much better than just, this song is about, dun, 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 dun. You want to share yourself with them. And again, telling stories about yourself is just the best. So if you're doing a 30-minute set and you have 4 chances to tell stories, think about the stories in your life of what you want them to know. Maybe you want them to know that you're a concert violinist, and that, so you have a little story about it, that's funny or hard or perseverance or whatever it is. But that's what I'm talking about, write a show and movement coaching and all that, because most people get up and just think, well, I'm a singer-songwriter. You just get up and you write and you sing into the mic and you look around and that's it. And it's like nobody ever gets really training. You have to think of it almost like a Broadway show. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. And you are there to entertain, and you are there to get that crowd like connected so much, like I said, that they'll buy all the memorabilia you got. Because when they go home and they listen to the music, they're going to remember that funny story that you told them. Or the fact that the guitar string broke in the middle and you just handled it so well,
Awesome. Cool. Terry.
Yay.
Yeah. Hi, again. So I was thinking maybe you don't have to specify who, but if you have a favorite person that you work with and singer-songwriter wise, and like what are the best qualities that like drive them in work ethic and all of that we might take into what we're doing, and the worst things that we might try to avoid.
That's good.
My favorite clients and the clients that do really well are the clients that listen to me. That's one thing, is that if you're going to hire somebody, if you're going to put that trust into somebody, you got to do what they say. You've got to listen to them. So that's number one. There's for me, my clients, we have a trust, and that helps, because when I'm trying to guide them and somebody is like, no, it's like having a child, and it's like, really, I'm going to save you a lot of time. And they're like, no, I want to do it the hard way. It's like, okay, fine.
Yeah.
So that's one thing. The second thing is that you have to be willing to develop. You have to be willing to develop for the rest of your life. If you think that you're done, if you think that you've made it and you've written all the songs and you're, no. Because the next time you do it, you have to start right back at the beginning and know it for the first time. It's like, you have to be willing to be that A student, to go, what else do I need to do? What more homework do I need to do? Who else do I need to hire? What other class do I need? Because if you're gonna have this for a career, the better off you will be if the more you know. So if you not only can write your songs, but you can demo your songs, you're just right ahead on the ladder, because then you don't need to rely on somebody else. Now, if you have to rely on somebody else, then you better know how to guide them and how to teach them and how to inspire them to do things for you and not for themselves. So it's really, really being very conscious of what you need and what you need, basically, in order to get better. Mm. The more you ask yourself that for the rest of your life, the better.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's great. I mean, Judy and I were in the ASCAP Expo together, sitting in panels, not because we're like, oh, let's go watch our friends talk. It's like, for me, and I'm guessing Judy too, it's like, what else can I learn about what's going on right now in the industry? I've never stopped like developing. I went to, I don't even know how many panels I sat in on for that reason.
Yeah, Cheryl, it's really interesting because I've been to the ASCAP Expo for quite a few years. I don't see other people like us, a lot of people that doing that,
I don't
but
know.
it's so, for me, it's so important because everything changes so radically in everything. So, yeah.
Yeah. Judy, do you have 2 more minutes for one more?
Sure, I'm fine. Okay,
yeah. Perfect. Yeah. That was a great question, Carrie. Thanks. So someone clicked off and then clicked back on, so you're all in different areas. So I think the only one person left that hasn't gone twice is Pam, right?
Pam.
Okay. Last question here, and then we'll close off the interview.
I was looking at your website, and you're developing a lot of artists, and I listen to their music, and I'm just wondering. You said you have a process. What's developing talent like for you?
Well, it's so
Does that make
much
sense?
Developing talent is talking. Developing talent is there's a lot of talking involved. Are you an artist writer? Are you a songwriter? What are you?
Singer songwriter. I studied composition and recording electronic music at Chico State for my master's, and for my undergrad I did music education. So yes, and I sing with the Native Women's Powwow group for like 10 years, more than that.
So
yeah, so I do abstract, electronic, and powwow.
About the development process for an artist writer.
Pardon?
You're asking
Yes.
for the development process for
Yes.
an artist writer, right? Okay. It's
Yes,
really,
artist writer.
I was saying before, I mean, you have to find your voice. You know, I mean, with Cheryl Crow, it was, she would come and she had written all these songs and they were really good. But there were parts of them that were good. And it was like, okay, you've got a great verse, now you got to do a chorus. And it was just a matter of like listening to the songs over and over and critiquing. That's the very beginning of anything that I do, is just making sure the songs are there. I have another artist, Ray Lynn, who is just out with a country single now. She didn't win. She was on the second season of The Voice. Miranda and Blake really took her under her wings. But I met her when she was 16 and a half, way before that. And the first thing it was like, okay, you got to start writing. I mean, that's where it starts. You've got to have the songs. If you don't have the songs, you can't brand it. I've been involved with record companies for I don't know how long. And it's very hard for a marketing person to market something and promote something when it's just 10 songs and they don't really go and there's no voice and there's no direction. It's just somebody who's got a voice and can sing, okay? And that's a lot of artists out there. But I always say Daniel Powder, when he called, now I forgot it. It's been a long day. Is that what it is? It's been a long. It's like Daniel Powder song. It's been a hard day. Da, 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 da. Do you guys know that song?
Yeah, it's not been a hard day.
It's 5 o'clock on Friday or something
Had
like
a bad day.
Had it.
There you go. Had a bad day. So, the marketing people at Warner Brothers, all they did was send that out at 5 o'clock on Friday. I mean, they didn't have to market it. They didn't have to do anything to it because it was such a great song and it was perfect for Friday afternoons, Thursday, whenever everybody got off work. So you see when a song does what it's supposed to do, it sells itself. That's what you're trying to come up with those unique perspectives of yourselves so that you don't have to, spend millions and millions of marketing. It's like, wow, I get it. This is what it is. You should be able to sell yourselves. So that's the development. Again, back to the songs.
Yeah, which is a perfect.
Thank you.
Sorry, Judy.
You're welcome. Now, one other thing I will go into for just a second though is in the development. I talk a lot about the songs, which is the voice, the melody, and the lyric. Which you have to do something for your voice, you have to do something for your melodies, and you have to do something for your lyrics. But at the same time, developing is also about your body, your mind, and your soul. So your voice doesn't exist without this body. So this body better be in shape. And I mean in shape as far as not in dis-ease. Because I know when my body's in dis-ease, this isn't pretty. Words come out of it that I don't usually use. And I'm whiny and I'm cranky. And, so my voice is not as pretty when this is not feeling good. So this is a real big part of it. Your soul, that's what makes your songs special, is your souls, your perspective, what you see, what you believe, all right? Love is a subject, but love stinks as a perspective. So are you in favor of love? Do you not want love right now? Are you afraid of it? Do you shy away from it? Do you run to it? What's your perspective on it? So just remember that in development, it's the songs, but it's also you. It's your body, your mind, and your soul that you need to keep developing and keep challenging. Challenge yourself. That's a big thing.
Really awesome. Mm-hmm. We sort of brought it full circle. Started with the song, came back to the song, went all over. We went to St. Louis. We went all over the place. So I just want to thank Judy. Thank you so much for this past hour. This has been a pleasure. And
Yes, she's amazing. She really is. I'm very impressed with what Cheryl does and her commitment too. So you guys are very lucky to have her.
All right, so next week we're going to be talking with Kristen Hoffman, a longtime touring musician, making her living, creating music, teaching music, making everything just work. She's a beautiful human being. I'm really excited to have her. You don't want to miss this. Please don't forget to rate and comment on iTunes and Stitcher Radio if you like this podcast. It's the best way to keep it going, get more subscribers, and continue to share this awesome information with the indie music community. Thank you, and we'll see you next time. All of the music on this podcast has been created by yours truly. The theme song is called Inevitably, written with Cameron Ernst and produced by Joey Ock. You can find all the songs, plus more information on my music career at CherylBE.com. If you want to be one of the reasons I can keep this podcast and my blog Living on Gigging going, then head to patreon.com/CBEmusic. There, you can contribute $1, $2, $5 for the creation of each of these free musician resources. Together, we can keep them coming and inspire other creative people to do what they love and do it well. Again, that's patreon.com/CBEmusic. Key Conversations is sponsored in part by Bandzoogle. They make it easy to build a beautiful website for your music. Their step-by-step system gets you online in minutes, and you can choose from hundreds of mobile-friendly themes and customize them with their easy point-and-click editor. All the features you could possibly imagine for a professional website are built in. So, because you are a Key Conversations podcast listener, you get a special 3-month free trial just for you. Go to www.inthekeyofsuccess.com/resources and click on the Bandzoogle logo to access your free extended trial.